All right, boys, so there are 5 things that you need to look out for when signing a new creator. At the end of the day, you're running an OnlyFans management agency, which is a service-based business. In any service-based business, you're never gonna have the most perfect run, the perfect clients 24/7. There are certain times where you're gonna be working with somebody who doesn't quite have the right traits, they may be a little bit slow at replying, and so on and so on. So in this video, I'm gonna be talking about the 5 things that you need to look out for as red flags before going ahead and agreeing to work with a client. So then starting with number 1 is the response rate, okay? Look, I get it, everybody is super busy, but in this particular business model, you're always talking back and forth with the creator. So where the majority of the money is made is in the customs, right? Whenever a fan wants a custom piece of content from the model, whether it's a photo or a video, you need to be able to relay that information, that custom, over to the creator for her to go ahead and create it as quickly as possible, so then you're able to sell that piece of content to the fan, right? The longer you leave it, the less likely the fan is going to still want the content and be able to buy it, right? So you need to be able to get back to them as soon as possible. So response rate is very important. Now, where can you kind of see the first initial red flags is in the actual conversation before you go ahead and sign up the model, right? So look, I get it, everybody's super busy though, everyone's got things going on, etc, but if the model has expressed that he or she is happy to work with you and is interested in signing up with your agency and scale their income, at that point they've essentially made that verbal commitment to wanting to work with you. So from there on, you should start judging all the little characteristic traits before signing that client. So instantly, if you are seeing that the response rate is like a day or 2, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't sign a client, but it's definitely a red flag, because that will most likely carry on when you start working with them. And then if you're working with a client who just isn't there to reply, they're always busy going out doing certain things and not there to reply to you and create the content, trust me, you want to avoid that. That's going to be really annoying. Now, the second thing you guys should be making sure that the model has in place is, of course, an OF account. Now, if you're just starting out, sure, maybe your first or maybe your second client will be somebody who doesn't even have OF yet, and he or she is just getting started on that. But in an ideal world, you shouldn't want to work with people like that, because look, there are so many things that need to happen in order to get started and start getting some fans in, not only physically, but then also mentally, right? And for me personally, I always teach people this when starting an OF agency, is you should never ever try and convince somebody to get on OF and get them started. You shouldn't do that. I think it's definitely something that the person individually has to obviously make the decision of, and you shouldn't always try and like sell them on the idea. You should only be working with people who are already on OF, because that is something that they really need to consider, because I mean, look at the long term, right? Once you're on OF, there's not really any going back. It's all online. So the second thing is making sure that the creator already has an OF account and is already have existing fans and making a bit of cash, right? It doesn't mean that they have to be in the top 1% or the top 0 something percent. It just means that they need to be on OF for at least 2-3 months, and they are 100% certain that that is what they want to do. Because also, you don't want to sign a client who's just starting out, and you put in all this effort, you bring so many fans, you spend a lot of money on marketing, and then a month or 2 later, he or she realizes that actually maybe OnlyFans isn't for them and they don't want to do it anymore. But anyway, for the rest of them, I've just got home. I'm gonna go back to the office, so let's go into step number 3. Right, so the next point, number 3, guys, is the internet connection. This might sound and seem such a simple little thing that probably doesn't matter too much. Now, there is like one nuance where supposedly if the model is very busy, she's out and about right now and she's doing it through her phone on like 4G, 5G connection. I understand it from that point of view, but even then, look, if you have organized a time to jump on a meeting, to jump on a call, to discuss about what your agency does, where she's at, and if you guys could work together, and you guys have organized the time and you have told her, look, you need to be in one place, there needs to be great connection, and to be able to hear you, etc, and she hasn't listened to that, and she just does it anyway from like a hair salon or something. It's not the end of the world, but it is definitely a red flag. So make sure you pay attention to that as well. So if she is at home as well and the internet connection is terrible and you can barely hear her, etc., again, it doesn't 100% necessarily mean you shouldn't work with her. But I mean, look, when you go to work together and she's trying to send you content to then publish on platforms, this might take forever, maybe the internet connection cuts out and then the content never gets uploaded, and so on and so on. So number 3 is about internet connection. Again, it's such a small little nuance, but trust me, this matters a lot because this entire business model is all based online. Going on to number 4, red flag, or I suppose this is the opposite of red flag, is if they're asking a lot of questions. If they're asking loads of questions, that's a great thing. That's a really good thing. That means she's really thinking outside of the box, right? So if she's asking loads of questions, it most likely means that the creator is really invested and really thing is thinking about this on the long term, because if he or she just jumps on a call and just agrees with everything and asks no questions, it's, first of all, it's very unlikely that will happen. But if that is the case, the person probably isn't really that invested into actually building the OF and thinking of it as a long-term investment, right? In terms of a long-term business plan. So if you guys jump on a call and he or she is asking tons of questions about your agency, how do you work, your services, your previous clients, your previous results, etc., that's really, really good thing. That's a green flag. So make sure you pay attention to that as well. And then last but not least, number 5, this is the most important one out of all of them. And just before we jump into it, by the way, please leave a like on the video. I really, really appreciate it. If we can get 600 likes on this video, I'll make an entire YouTube video explaining exactly how to go from 0 to 10,000 a month, both from a creator's point of view and an agency owner. So if you want that 600 likes, please leave a like and I'll create that video for you guys. But last but not least is the expectations. So at the end of the call, when you're covering and going over exactly what it is that you expect from the model and the creator and how you work as an agency, if there is a bunch of pushback in the terms of, oh, I can't work here, the community, yeah, but I'm going to be able to reply only once a week, or oh, that's way too much work, I couldn't do that, etc. If that is the case, absolutely fine, no problem. You can just part ways and the model, wish him or her the best of luck and you carry on working as you are. However, look, there needs to be a certain way on how you work. For us, we're very, very strict on certain things that we do and don't do. And there are certain things that we expect the creator to do as well, right? Look, at the end of the day, it's a 50-50 partnership. If you are pulling your weight and you're doing everything that you need to be doing as an agency owner, but then the creator isn't pulling their own weight and they maybe are very slow on content, they can't work certain days, maybe they're doing like university, working full-time and this on the side, and there's too much going on and there's not enough time in a day for the creator. Again, like I said, absolutely fine, no problem, but you probably shouldn't work with that person. So that is it for this video. Make sure you check out the other videos on my channel. I'm sure you're going to enjoy them and I'll see you on the next one.